Hello, everybody. Crypto Wally here. Another day, another episode. I hope you feel relieved after these 2 very intense days. We had over 30% price dips. But as you watched my previous videos or not, you can go back to it. I was trying to calm you down and explain all the reasons what actually happened, and as you know, it was just a matter of accumulation of different news, bad news, especially from Asia. That dip was actually healthy. I feel much better right now. That feels weird, but I feel much better right now, despite the fact that I didn't even come back to the same portfolio amount yet, but I'm close to it. I hope you didn't do anything crazy. You didn't sell on loss. You just hold it until now. And as I was going through the Bitcoin and its price, it was a wild ride for Bitcoin for this year. It started with around 800 at the beginning of the year. Right now, we see 11,000. It used to be even like 20,000. So we are talking about 10 to 20 times price growth. That's insane, right? And actually, I was thinking about it. What's actually the future of Bitcoin? What do you think Bitcoin price will be like in the next year, in 2018? That's a hard question to answer, you will probably say, because we don't know. I mean, there's so many different altcoins. There is so many even different Bitcoin forks right now. Everybody's trying to beat the Bitcoin down. Everybody is trying to be the number one and be the better project. Everybody is promising that they're way better than Bitcoin because of this and that. But what's the truth behind it? What actually drives the Bitcoin price right now, and where I actually see Bitcoin in the future? So as you see on the coin market cap right now, Bitcoin is at over $11,000. It was a huge correction recently. Right now it came back to, I would say, relatively normal price, and we will probably see it to be at 14,000 soon, but there might be another dip by the end of this month. It's not guaranteed. It's more driven by technical analysis, which I use. I'm not a true believer in only relying on technical analysis. It's good, but keep in mind, cryptocurrency market is a little bit different market than stock exchange. It's not that mature. It's more like a retail market so far. It's more volatile because of the fact that investors are not that experienced. Like as far as I know, 80 or 90% of the investors, the people who actually buy and sell cryptocurrencies, have no idea how they work underneath. They just see the price. This is what I'm trying to talk about today. Actually, if you are just watching the numbers, it doesn't give you like a full picture what actually is going on. I would like to pull up this first article from CNBC, where one of the analysts at the Saxo Bank, Kayvon Peterson, is actually forecasting the price of Bitcoin to be between 50,000 and 100,000 in 2018. It's gonna be a crazy ride if he's right, and he already was predicting the price for 2017 to be at level 2000, so he wasn't even that optimistic then. So if that's gonna follow the same trend, we would see some crazy price. So there are some optimistic news about Bitcoin, and if you have any concerns, another great thing about Bitcoin is there's more and more big financial institutions actually coming into the game and backing Bitcoin. But at the same time, as far as we know right now, Bitcoin is also backed by futures. And futures is actually not a good thing, in my opinion, which drives the Bitcoin price going up and down. And actually, people behind futures, they're not worried about the project itself, they're more worried about the price, which is pretty sad, but that's the reality. Everybody just wants to make money. They don't care about anything else. So Van Peterson is saying that more and more institutions will actually get on board over time, but it won't happen quickly, which means in cryptocurrency world, like a year is a long time. If you're patient, you should be good. But if you're an anxious person, if you want to see hundreds of percents back as in from the investment within a month or two, it's probably not for you. So Van Peterson is also saying that Ethereum, in his opinion, is likely to outperform Bitcoin this year, which I can agree with. I mean, Ethereum is an evolution of Bitcoin. And think about it in this way. Aside from numbers, aside from trends, aside from charts, let's see the big picture. First things first, Bitcoin is already having almost like a 10 years. It's an old project. From the technical perspective, from technology, 10 years is a long time. What did you have 10 years ago? What kind of phone did you have? What kind of computer? So the first problem I see with Bitcoin, and I'm not saying it's a problem for now, but it's a problem in general, is the quantum computer. So in general, while conventional computers don't possess the necessary computational power to derive a private key from a public key, and private key and public key is a part of Bitcoin, I mean, as the whole concept, right? So quantum computers could do rather easily derive a private key from a public key. And as I said, it's not a matter of months, it's not a matter of year or two to see quantum computers on daily basis. But as some people are predicting, this is probably gonna happen by 2027. So we have like 9-10 years to see it happening, which means seeing Bitcoin going down, it's not the question if Bitcoin will go down. The question is when Bitcoin will go down. Because Bitcoin is not quantum resistant. It's not. That's a problem. But it's not only a problem for Bitcoin, it's a problem for many different cryptocurrencies. And today's encryption methods are at risk as well. For example, if we are talking about RSA, which is based on the simple premise that factoring large numbers, because RSA and other encryption methods essentially made it in time and resource so intensive for computers we have right now that it's almost impossible to crack some hash if you want to use a brute force. It's just so time consuming that it doesn't make sense. But it wouldn't be the case for quantum computers, and Bitcoin is not quantum resistant. A lot of these newly created projects, cryptocurrencies, are quantum resistant already, and they should be good. So for me, in my opinion, we would see sooner or later another Bitcoin forks, which would try to be quantum resistant as a solution. And as a reference to my opinion about quantum resistance and quantum computers, here's an article from Futurism, where the author is saying about quantum resistant computers. There's a chart from IBM as well. The risk to today's encryption I just mentioned, RSA, AAS. And they're also saying that already NSA started doing their own research. So this problem is not new. The thing is, quantum computers are closer and closer to be released as a computer being used on a daily basis, to being released to the public. And as a reference, I would like to show you another article from 2013 by Vitalik Buterin, who is the creator of the Ethereum. If you don't know, you probably know. And he's saying about this problem for Bitcoin, which is not quantum safe. He's also explaining what improvements need to be done in order to make it quantum resistant. So this is probably a good white paper for somebody to just fork Bitcoin and try to do quantum resistant cryptocurrency. And this is going to happen. I'm pretty sure that that's going to happen sooner or later, because that might be a problem. But this is very theoretical thing for now. So if you're holding Bitcoin, I wouldn't worry about it. You can still hold it. There's no threats for now from that perspective. There's still a matter of 10 years or so. So even if you divide it by 2, you have like 5 years with no issues with any quantum resistant. Just keep that in mind. And other factors are regulations as well as media attention, which makes the Bitcoin price going up and down because there is a lot of psychological impact on it, as well as regulations, which actually are driving people or investors being either scared or excited about something. So every single news is driving price going up or down. That's the reality, because people are not as experienced as an investors as the stock exchange investors. So every single news, bad or good news, is actually driving the price going up or down. So it's very volatile, as you probably know. Another thing is professional day trading, obviously, and futures. I think that futures changed the whole thing. So I was talking about Bitcoin and quantum resistance, as well as different factors for investors like media attention, regulations, as well as day trading affecting Bitcoin price, and the forecasting from analysis like this gentleman from Saxo Bank. So for now, if you're still concerned about Bitcoin itself, I have a good news for you and I'm waiting for it. It's gonna happen probably around April or May. And we are talking about the Lightning Network. One of the biggest issues right now, which actually has an impact on credibility for Bitcoin, is the network speed, the speed of transactions. So the network is super full and super slow right now. And this is because the number of transactions going up and up, and the network cannot just handle it. That is why some other institutions started working on Lightning Network, which is basically, you can call it like Bitcoin 2.0 with super fast transactions, payments, and being reliable again. Right now, you have to wait a couple hours, sometimes even a days to confirm your transactions from Bitcoin to Bitcoin. So it doesn't make sense if we're talking about cryptocurrency, about something electronic, which should be quick and reliable. It's no different than even the bank wire in this case. So that is why Lightning Network was introduced, and it was actually implemented by guys from competition like Litecoin and Bitcoin Cash. It is including changes like increased block size or the changes proposed in SegWit to X. So basically, I would say the current version of Bitcoin sort of gave up and they're actually waiting for Lightning Network. At this point, Bitcoin has no choice. They have to accept the Lightning Network. They have to accept these changes and become like Bitcoin 2.0 or however you want to call it. Because otherwise, Bitcoin will be dead because it will be not usable. It's not usable right now on daily basis if you want to transfer some money, especially smaller amounts of money. So this is more like a store of value, but it's getting worse and worse and worse. So here's why Lightning is coming. And there is even the comment from Charlie Lee. So he's also saying the same thing, that Lightning Network should actually help Bitcoin to come back on the track. In the same time, he's mentioning Litecoin, which will be another beneficiary of using Lightning Network. But the impression here is that Charlie Lee is talking like he's sacrificing Bitcoin for Litecoin. And keep in mind that Charlie sold all his Litecoin right now as a matter of solving, as he said, personal conflict of interest. And I understand it, but still I think that there is a lot of concerns around it, and there might be even a death match between Bitcoin and Litecoin, which I wouldn't like to happen. I like both projects. I like Litecoin. I think it's needed as well as Bitcoin is, but we'll see how it's gonna happen. I can guarantee you that if Lightning will be introduced, the Bitcoin price will go crazy. The same thing for Litecoin. That's pretty much guaranteed, in my opinion, obviously. But we will see. We have a couple months until then, and we will see how it goes. So to sum up some of these things, you shouldn't be that worried if you're seeing a big picture. I always encourage people to actually see at the Bitcoin as a big picture as any other cryptocurrency. So if you're looking at the numbers within a range of days, it's very misleading. You should always read the news, do your own research, and see what's going next. So for Bitcoin, there are bad things that within the years, quantum computers will probably take it over. So it's gonna have to be some sort of fork which will make Bitcoin quantum resistant, which means Bitcoin at this time will be ditched. The good thing about it is that it's not going to happen tomorrow. It's not going to happen in the next month or year. It's more like a matter of 10 years, probably. Another bad thing about Bitcoin is already started. There is a lot of speculations because of futures, and futures are not good for Bitcoin, in my opinion. And we see a lot of crazy prices going up and down because of the future. Media attention, it's 50-50. News are driven by media. Media right now is a little bit exaggerating bad news around Bitcoin, which drives some investors crazy, especially investors who are not that experienced. So they panic, and there's a lot of panic sells, which make the whole Bitcoin price a little bit volatile. You just have to get used to it, because that's gonna happen. I hope it's gonna be less and less volatile, but for now, just get used to it. On the good side is actually the prediction from Analysys. I think the more and more institutions are actually investing money in Bitcoin and in cryptocurrencies in general. So Bitcoin is probably still the number one, a solid pick. And it wasn't even the case like a year or two ago. Right now, the big institutions are really investing money, their own money, like millions of dollars in Bitcoin. So we will see market cap going up as well as prices going up. And as you see the forecast, we are talking about 50,000 to 100,000 in 2018. And the last thing is actually the Lightning Network. And as I said, I see a big spike coming between April and May when Lightning Network should be introduced. And despite the fact that whatever Charlie is saying about Litecoin versus Bitcoin in terms of Lightning Network, I see that both Litecoin and Bitcoin will go up, especially boosted by a Lightning Network. So that's it for now. I hope you enjoyed this video. As always, please subscribe, like the video, leave me a comment if you have any thoughts on this one. And as always, see you in my next video.